Da-na-na-na, da-na-na-na-na. It's the final countdown by Europe.
Yeah, I'm very much aware of it. I'm just wondering what the fuck it's doing on this show.
The final countdown to E3, man. This is us gearing up, getting pumped, coming down the home stretch, getting ready for the big show. This is our first pre-E3 show here on Invisible Walls, episode 57. Today we're going to talk about Nintendo and a bunch of other fun stuff. First, let's get a roll call going. Today on the show we have Marcus Beer.
What's up, PS3 lovers?
Miguel Lopez and his second stint on the show.
Hello. What was that? That was good, right?
Mike Damiani's on the show today.
That was very good, Miguel. Excellent work.
Hi.
And Patrick Morales winding out the crew.
Hey, what's good, everyone?
So in addition to an E3 preview for Nintendo, we also have a couple guests on the show as promised last week. Let's get it rolling. First up, we have our very special guest we talked about last week. You guys have asked for him countless times. I announced the triumphant return of Brandon Jones to Invisible Walls.
That sounds so epic.
Sounds like a Michael Bay flick, doesn't it? So for those of you who don't know, Brandon does all the voicing for our reviews, and according to a lot of you, reviews every single game for GameTrailers as well.
He's the hardest working man in showbiz.
I'll tell you.
He's the hardest working man on the planet.
6 games at a time.
Yeah.
That's how I roll.
So, Brandon, you actually just started, sort of your little newest baby is GT Anthology, which it actually serves a couple purposes, but I'll let you sort of talk about it.
Well, it's funny because one of the things that I was defining it to a lot of people on staff that actually a lot of people have commented negatively is they were like, oh, it's just a Wikipedia page with video, and that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
We're not trying to make it more than that. Primarily, it's there's a lot of games that we have not featured because the first game we ever reviewed was Brothers in Arms for the 360, followed by God of War. Anything before that, a lot of it's kind of gotten the shaft from the site, and there's
Well,
just
the
not
site
a lot
wasn't
of,
around.
Yeah, there's nothing we can do. It's only
It didn't exist.
The
There's
games
only
industry didn't exist before this site was
know.
created. What's wrong with you?
But it's really nice to go back and kind of introduce these games to the site that don't have a lot of content.
Yeah.
So far we've done we've covered Super Mario Brothers before, but trying to start out with Pac-Man and Sonic and a lot of these iconic games that haven't really gotten a lot of love and countdowns and stuff like that. And so.
Yeah, I think to me, probably the two purposes it serves is one, providing people with video content that explains this stuff. Right now, there's really only written content out there that goes over these old classic games. And two, it fills out our back catalog. I mean, honestly, since the site's only been around for such a short period of time, we don't have coverage of those old games like the original Super Mario Brothers and things like that.
Yeah, and that's what's fascinating, actually, in doing all the research required for this stuff, to discover that this footage really isn't out there, that a lot of these games you can probably go out and buy, but what you're buying is like a remade version, or it's a part of some package, so they'll clean up the translation or graphics slightly or something, and it's nice to go back and get that authentic footage and show it not in some like VHS copy YouTube clip, but like a nice full screen HD.
Yeah. I think what's really cool too is that you guys really do a good job of digging deep and finding really cool little nuggets of information, lots of little trivia that even with all working in the industry for so long, I didn't even know. So it's good to know that I can watch that stuff and get something out of it. I can't even imagine what someone who's only has a passing interest in games would get out of it. So.
A lot of that too is discovering who worked on what and what they've done since. These games are 20 years old, and people can do a lot in 20 years, and so
it's amazing
surprising
what
to be
some of
like
these
he produced that or he did
What's been the toughest game so far to do the anthology for? To do the research, get the footage, find the cartridges. What's been the hardest so far?
King's Quest. We just actually had Mega Man go up. This next weekend is going to be Civilization for the PC, which should go up the day after this. And really wanted King's Quest to be the first PC game, and getting the original, click, 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 like really slow moving animation. Like that's a tough game to track down.
And a tough game to play in this day and age.
I mean, I can. If you were to go out and buy a DOS machine or an Apple II, that's great, but you can't. How do you record it? And so it's the other thing that's really interesting about the anthology is that a lot of comments like primarily the negative comments were that there's no voiceover, which is a big difference between the retrospective work that we did. And it's ironic because a lot of people are like, oh, it's a shame they kind of didn't include Brandon in this project, which is funny because I'm I've been producing the whole thing. I cut the first episode and I'm like ecstatic that I don't that we don't have to
You
do
don't have
that.
the voice.
Well,
Well, the
not
one
only-
thing is it cuts down the production time a lot. When you
Yeah.
get voiceover involved, you just start
Oh, yeah.
matching the footage to the voice. It takes a lot more work instead of just laying sort of text over top of
If
it.
there's like last minute changes, like one of our guys sees it and he's like, "Oh, here's a factoid that you missed." You can just boom, put it right in, and you're done. And not only that, but it takes a while when you're writing a retrospective to make it sound good. To write, It's
true. You gotta rewrite it a
Patrick
couple
can
times.
understand. Like Patrick was helping us with Warcraft, and you're just like, how many times can I say the word strategy, and make it not sound repetitive. And that's the nice thing about doing these anthologies. It's just it's just the facts. It's just you don't have to spruce it up. You don't have to flower it up. Just
Yeah, I really enjoyed those steps back into gaming nostalgia, and we'll be putting up one per week.
One per week, yeah.
To infinity, right?
I think we're going to take a break during E3 just because,
Just 'cause.
no one's going to watch those. It's just too much to see on the site. So we'll probably take like 1 or 2 week break and then still be working on it. So when we come back, we'll have plenty episodes.
All right, next we're going to talk to a good friend of ours, Rohan Rivas. Is that how you say your last name?
Yeah,
Rivas, I got that part right. Rohan has been producing bonus rounds so far this year, and he's on here to talk to us about some of the big episodes coming up. Obviously, E3 is right on the horizon, and you guys are definitely warming up the site for the show. Can you talk a little bit about the bonus rounds coming up?
Yeah, the first part of our E3 preview just went up yesterday, I believe. It's part 1, where the 3 guests that we have this week, Brian Crescente, Andy McNamara, and Nguy Kroll, are talking about the convention, like how has it changed, what was it like previously, and how does it compare to all the other conventions like PAX. And they also talk about third-party games. So that's up right now. You can check that out. And next couple weeks on the 17th, they're going to be talking about Microsoft's presence at E3. That's going to be featured on Xbox Live as well. Then the week after, the 24th, Sony. And then the 31st, the day before E3 week, they're going to be talking about Nintendo.
Now, you've seen all the episodes. We shoot them all at once, and then we just put them up one per week. Anything controversial coming up in the show? Anyone fly off the handle?
Well, as you guys know...
You don't want to spoil it, obviously.
No,
maybe a hint.
but Andy is the editor-in-chief of Game Informer.
Right.
And as you guys know, Game Informer gets the scoops sometimes before we do on some stuff. So, I think their next cover is Modern Warfare 2. Mm-hmm. So Andy comments on a few things, because he's got that extra insight. So you might want to look at that. He says some stuff, but it's kind of exciting.
Drop some names so that we know what to look for.
Or which episode?
You want to pay attention to the Microsoft one.
Really?
Microsoft and Sony, man.
Well, I think Microsoft probably has its cards closest to the chest at this point. They haven't really had an event in a while, and everyone did pre-E3 events and junkets and things like that, and Microsoft is just kind of laid low.
Well, I think what was interesting that was brought up with those 3 guests on the bonus round is that, what's Microsoft's big 2009 game? What is it? Is it Halo ODST?
I hope not.
They're keeping things so close to their chest for this E3. It's everybody's speculating. So,
well, thanks for stopping by, Rohan. Good luck with the next few episodes, and good luck at E3.
Thanks, guys.
Now I'm really pissed off.
Next, we're going to talk about some of the big leaks that happened over the weekend. Obviously, the biggest of which being Duke Nukem Forever, the most ironically named game in the history of video games.
I think at this point it'll be Duke Nukem Never.
Never, yeah. Well, they leaked some footage of the game, and it didn't look half bad.
It looked kind of good, dare I say it. It looked Duke Nukem-esque, and it looked new-ish and shiny, and there was ladies in there, and there was pig cops in there, and there was this whole scene in a football field, and explosions, and it looked rough. There were some aspects that looked rougher than a sailor's ass, but there were some bits in there as well that sort of got me going back to the old Duke Nukem game, and we're I want to boot this up and play this again on my computer.
How did they survive all that time without releasing anything or making a penny of money?
Well,
Did they make that much money off Duke Nukem way back when?
I think they made a fortune off Duke Nukem, but I think it's
And they just spent it.
But I think it's ironic that now that they've gone kaput, or the dev studio's gone tits up, now all this stuff is coming out, because if the stuff had been coming out,
There might have been some hype behind the game, and it may have come out.
and they might have actually had some investment and so on and so forth. But yeah, it's looking good, and I'm hoping that it shows that it's not that far from at least an announcement for the release. It looked playable. It
Who's
looked
gonna
fun.
release
do,
it, though? I mean,
you guys think that it's over for it, or is somebody going to pick it up?
how are they going to fix it? I mean, someone else will have to come in and work on the game.
The studio's dissolved, right? Like, all
Yeah,
the people
they're
working
gone.
on it are gone. And
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if the whole game isn't just released out into the interwebs in the next week or so.
Like
I mean,
all the
there's
assets.
videos,
I think
screenshots keep coming
you'll
out.
get somebody picking up in a fire sale because with any bankruptcy or insolvency, assets get sold off, and that code is an asset. I mean,
Duke Nukem as a brand is an asset still. After
Yeah.
all this time, I mean, that would seem to be the thing you want to pick up. Do you want to pick up Duke Nukem forever, though?
if it's good enough, you can get it out there and just give it the polish it needs and get it out there. I mean, they must have so much stuff there for that game. We've seen some of the 3D models. I'm sure they've recorded some of the VO. There must be enough workable stuff to build on and improve, and you could see it falling into the hands of an EA who could throw some more resources at it and hopefully not lose none of the humor.
Well,
You-
truth
you-
be
you guys-
told, go ahead, Miguel.
do you guys think that like the humor of that game is applicable today?
You mean the old Duke games?
What?
Yeah,
Hell
like
no.
Drinking and boobies and stuff like that. Yeah, that really went out of fashion, especially with gamers, didn't it?
I don't think he just means like the subject matter. It's more of how they sort of attack that subject matter.
Right.
I think it's evolved
I
almost.
mean, it's
from,
like meathead humor.
yeah, it was meathead humor 10, 15 years ago. I
Now
think-
it's Neanderthal humor.
Well, now it could be perceived as kitschy. It could be perceived as that kind of like quaint step back in time. So if it's handled in the right way and with produced by somebody with the right sense of humor, it could actually be a very, very funny game from that perspective.
Like self-aware. One screenshot that I saw that it's actually my desktop right now. I'll show it to you guys when we get out of here. It's like Duke Nukem in a Doom buggy with like an American flag pattern all over it, driving through some crazy it looked like an ornate ballroom. Dude, that makes it seem like they are kind of aware of like the kids.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And let's face it, that big American flag, it's so going to sell overseas.
Yeah, well, I mean, truth be told is, an unnamed source had saw the game, I guess it's been about 4 or 5 months ago now, and when he saw the game, and I just gave up the fact that it's a he, when he saw the game, he
Good
said the game
going.
was looking pretty good. And, he thought it was on target to ship and release, and so now this
And
news
he's a
comes.
respected source in the games industry, this person.
He's someone I would, to his opinion, I would trust.
think-
So I guess it's a bit of a shame, right? I mean, we thought maybe it had some potential, but
I think think
you really think it's going to come out?
I think it has potential. I'm hoping it's going to come out, and I'm hoping it's going to be good to very good, because we need more Duke Nukem in our lives. We need more in these days of 6 Days in Fallujah and Modern Combat and Rainbow Six. We need a funny motherfucker with a gun and a penchant for chests. And just really getting out there and having fun. And, there's nothing wrong with that, because otherwise we're just going to end up leaving it to the postal crew, and I would just fear for the rest of the planet.
I think things are getting a little too politically correct. Maybe that's what you're trying to say. We need something that just is like, you know what, it.
Sometimes you just got to enjoy life, mate.
Yeah, and I think that's what Duke Nukem's all about. So, nice surprise this weekend, watching the NBA playoffs. What do I see on the television screen but a teaser trailer for Modern Warfare 2.
So you were the person watching the bouncy ball this weekend.
I
All right,
was, being the idiot sports nut that I am. I managed to catch it.
Talk about a random way to release the first look at one of the biggest games of the year on a cable channel in the middle of an NBA game, when most gamers, I would suppose, would be actually playing games.
Yeah. It's an odd way to debut it. No fanfare, no announcement whatsoever. We were under the impression that we were going to show the next piece of footage from that game on GameTrailers TV coming up very soon. Didn't work out that way. Definitely a little bit of a surprise. Consequently, the thing's going nuts on the site, obviously. But
Well, it looks good.
yeah, I think it's definitely a step up from Call of Duty 4 and World at War. It doesn't have that wow factor that the first piece of footage that I saw of Call of Duty 4 had with me. But it's definitely improved. You can see some tweaks here and there.
It looks way better than World at War, in my opinion.
I don't know about that.
I wasn't a big fan of World at War, but I think this, when I saw it, I was like, yes, I want
I'm
to
not
get into
saying
this
World at
game.
War changed the world of video games. I'm saying it looked good. It used the Call of Duty 4 engine and improved on it a little bit.
I think one of the reasons I'm so down at World at War is that before Christmas you made me capture 3 days of it on the Wii, and that was just one of the buggiest piles of games I'd ever had to play. I think you burnt me on the World at War franchise, so that's why I'm like, this one, Modern Warfare, looks good.
Well, it shows swimming, riding on a snowmobile.
Yeah.
It's like G.I. Joe. Like all bases covered.
Maybe this is actually the real G.I. Joe game instead of that abomination.
So hang on. It shows swimming. It shows riding on a snowmobile. I think it shows jumping off ships and stuff like
shows
that.
judo.
Yeah.
Are you sure it was a trailer for a video game, or was it a tampon ad that allows you to stay fresh while doing these
Then it would be running on
activities?
MTV.
They also had like for a split second, you look in the underwater scene, you see like a statue doing the A-OK sign. So like, isn't that also like some kind of yoga gesture?
Is it?
I think so.
Oh.
That's like a hint.
Isn't there a statue of Jesus somewhere where Jesus is making that sign? Obviously, he's not doing A-OK. But
No, that's the Buddy Christ
Buddy
from
Christ.
Dogma.
Buddy Christ.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
I actually have that statue on my desk at home. It's the Buddy Christ going A-OK.
I think
So
it's
why would
another
the Buddy
diver,
Christ
though.
be in the sequel to Call of Duty 4?
I think it was another diver because you can see his little meter on his wrist.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He's like saying, all right, it's good to go deeper.
Maybe we should go back and watch it again.
That might be a good idea.
It was 9 seconds long, so everything went by pretty quickly.
Yeah.
You
By
get-
the time this goes up, we'll have done our pot block that explores all that stuff. So,
Well underway.
yeah.
So is it still looking like the game that's going to sell the most copies this year? Bestseller?
Oh yeah.
Easily?
Oh yeah.
Nothing come close?
Oh yeah. I mean, Call of Duty. I think is the Call of Duty 4. I think is the best-selling game this gen so
It's
far, except
not
for
surprising.
Wii Sports, if you count
Yeah.
the pack-in numbers for Wii Sports, which don't count. I think it's the best-selling game this gen. I mean, there's no reason to think the sequel won't do just as well.
Call of Duty 4 has been one of the best games of all time.
Well, I log in to Xbox Live, and still probably 20 to 30% of my friends list is still playing Call of Duty 4. Even after World of War came out, they're still playing it. So
And it's one of those games that, if you get like a brand new rig or you get a brand new TV and a surround sound system, that's the game you want to drop in to have all that shit going off behind you, no matter what type of genre you like. That Call of Duty 4 is just the one.
yeah, I have no reservations that that game is going to be really good. Their pedigree is, it definitely precedes itself. So I don't have any issues with that. Just a lot of mysteries left. It looks like they're actually adding stuff. World at War didn't really add anything, so to speak.
Well, yeah, here's a good question. Like, can you infer anything from that video that would indicate to you that a lot of the stuff they're showing, for example, the diving and the snowmobile piloting, that stuff is anything beyond like on-rail segments? Like the judo, obviously, or rather the hand-to-hand close-quarter combat.
Well, I think they're swimming underwater. I don't think that's going to be on rails. That would be pretty odd. Or if it was just a cinema, I think that'd be pretty sinister of Infinity Ward to put out these teases and then just have it be part of a cinema or something like that.
I'm sure they've been working on their engine for the last 2 years to, put water physics in there and allow you to travel in underwater, and especially with the capabilities of the PS3 being unlocked, the PS3 version might be the definitive version with all the great things it can do.
Of all those things that you listed, I think I'd be least surprised if the snowmobiling was on rails.
Right, because
That
there were.
maybe I could see. Just keep dripping it out in little drops. I think they're doing a smart job of building the hype and for the big blowout at E3, which I'm sure is to come. All right, now finally we're going to talk about what we all came here for, which is Nintendo showing at this year's E3. Just to go back in time a little bit, obviously last year's E3 Nintendo showing was, for lack of a better term, pathetic.
I think the word you're looking for was shite.
Yes.
I forget. Do we hate Nintendo or do we like Nintendo?
It's this Sony we hate.
Okay.
And Microsoft.
All right.
And ColecoVision, I think, are good this year. Isn't that the one you said earlier, ColecoVision?
Yeah. We like Sega too, right? Like their consoles.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah, Sega Genesis all the way. For the win.
090909.
Awesome.
So let's talk about Nintendo at E3 this year. I mean, they haven't really done much since E3 last year. We still haven't got Wii Sports Resort.
Oh god, they better not spend that show talking about that game.
You know
It's
they're gonna.
It's coming out in July here.
You know they're gonna.
They spent last year doing this.
You know they're gonna.
If I see
It better be Reggie walks out. Here's Wii Sports Resort. Thanks for coming. Let's get on to the real games.
if I see Cammy Dunaway pick up a remote, I'm going to throw a tomato.
Oh, I already know
If
for
she
a
goes,
fact
I
she's
have
gonna
a
be in the press
story.
conference
If
again.
she goes, I have a story, just mute it, turn it off, walk away.
She's going to be in the press conference again, so you might as well just...
She's going to tell us how she broke her backside water speeding or something.
She said she was
Water speeding.
Well, last year she fractured her wrist snowboarding. So this year it'll be playing beach volleyball and her leg fell
She
off.
broke a nail.
Her highlights got all askew.
She did promise she's going to talk about real games this year.
Oh, so she's not working for Nintendo anymore?
Oh! Zing!
I think, besides Wii Sports Resort, the question I want to know for Nintendo is, what the hell is their big fall title going to be?
Zelda. It's going to be Zelda, right?
They might announce it. You really think a Zelda Wii is going to be ready for fall?
They've been working on it for 2 or 3 years now.
It sounds like they kept saying, like, one of the interviews they said they're not even sure E3 is even the right time to show it off. This E3. That was from Miyamoto.
Oh, yeah, they apparently forget every time they show Zelda, the crowd like freaks out. How's this not the right time?
I'm not Nintendo, but it sounded like...
Or maybe it's Pikmin. Maybe Pikmin's the big...
They've been adhering to this new policy that if a game's not within 3 months of ready to come out, they will not show anything about it. Look at Excitebots. A game came out of nowhere, and then all of a sudden, here it is.
I feel bad for that developer, too, man. They
Yeah.
work on that game for 2 years, and no one even knows they're doing it until like 2 weeks before it comes out.
Perhaps they won't have a big hardcore game title for this Christmas. Perhaps they're going to try and do one last milking of the casual market.
I think Wii Music may have taught them a valuable lesson in many ways. One, about how to handle a press conference. Two, about, you can't just keep tossing casual crap against the wall and expect it to stick.
Well, I think that also goes to show that you can't let your chief game designer put his hobbies into video games, all the fucking time.
Well, it worked for him for a long time.
But not all the time. Somebody's got to have a reality check here and say, no.
Yeah. Well, he only ever played the banjo anyway.
We know they're working on Pikmin 3. That was supposed to have apparently been shown last year. It was a no-show.
Yeah.
What about Kid Icarus?
That's a rumor. That doesn't exist.
I'm never going to mention that ever again.
No,
What about a new Kirby game?
But, I mean, honestly, is it going to be Pikmin 3? I mean, they announced Sin and Punishment 2 last fall.
They would never show that at their U.S.
That
press
cannot be their
conference,
big title. So, are they really going to put Wii Sports Resort out? I can see them doing this, putting it out in July and just pushing that to through the holidays. But
they have to have a big Q4 game.
What's the mystery?
I'm sure they got Wii Winter Sports Resort for...
Wii Fit Plus.
Well, they're going to eventually release an expansion for Wii Sports, or for Wii Fit eventually. I mean, it's only a matter of time.
Wii Fit.
All those millions of, Wii Fitter.
But, I mean, I think...
The Wii Fit actually get fit this time.
And then the third one's going to be Wii Fitterous.
Wii Fat.
Yeah, Wii Fat.
It's an eating simulation.
There's probably a good chance they'll announce or show off the next console Zelda. I just don't feel that it's going to be a fall title.
I think they have to show Zelda at this press conference. I don't really think that they have a choice. I mean...
But what's coming out this fall for gamers who care? Like those people who are going to be looking for Modern Warfare 2, Call of Duty 3 come this fall. What is Nintendo going to have this time?
Maybe.
Last time they had Animal Crossing, they learned their lesson that didn't wow anybody.
Are they kind of due to announce some kind of a partnership with a third-party publisher to have something exclusive for their system?
Hopefully.
Maybe they're pinning their hopes on all the EA, Activision and Capcom have all announced that they're putting a lot of Wii stuff out this year, and maybe Nintendo are going to say, you know what, we're going to, like I said, rape the casual market one more time. We're going to let the strength of the third-party product go through, and then next year it could be a new Zelda, it could be a new Metroid, but we're due for a Metroid.
I don't know if we'll see Metroid for a while, man. I mean, that last game was so good, and it tanked so hard. I mean, I think that's probably your big Q4 game, though, right there. Retro's new game. Whatever Retro is working on, I'm sure they're going to show it at this show. They have to. They've been working on it for 2 years, and they already said that they're going to take a break from Metroid. So whatever it is that those guys are working on, I'm guessing we'll get a nice glimpse of it at the show.
Yeah, didn't they say that their next game wouldn't be Metroid?
Right.
It'd be something else.
Yeah, they're taking a bit of a break from it. And I don't blame them. I mean, their last game was so good. I can't believe it sold so poorly. But
Did it so poorly?
yeah. I mean, F-Zero's still dangling out there. Star Fox is still dangling out there. I wouldn't mind playing Star Fox with motion controls.
A real Star Fox.
I could
Yeah.
go for a really
as long
good
as
Star Fox
Nintendo
game.
made
Yeah.
it.
As long as it was like this true sequel to like Star Fox 64 and not the sequel to Star Fox Adventures or Star Fox
Where you're
Assault.
actually in an R-Wing,
Yeah.
not on
A real Star Fox
Assault
game. That'd be
was
great.
bad.
Hell, I'd be happy to
would've
for a
been.
sequel to the Star Fox on the Super NES, because that just
Yeah.
blew away everybody with the FX chip inside it.
Right.
It was just one of the best, coolest little games I've played.
Well, I think another big focus for them is going to be the Wii Motion Plus. I just got a chance to play with the Wii Motion Plus at the EA event I was at playing their tennis game, and honestly, it was probably the most fun I had playing games at their whole event.
Really?
It worked amazing. And, Nintendo's letting a third party launch a piece of their hardware, which is just unheard of. I mean, it's
They don't have anything. They don't have anything themselves. I mean, we
Mario lightsabers.
still, though, in the past, Nintendo would force those third parties to hold their games until they were able to release Wii Sports Resort, and then the week later,
Maybe-
EA's tennis game comes out. Then now Nintendo has changed its perspective to the point where they're letting third parties unleash their new hardware, which I think is great.
It's great because they've got 40 million units out there. They perhaps don't have the lineup that they want for first party, and like I said, maybe they're going to let third party carry the load. And if third party steps up, like EA and Capcom and Activision have promised to do this year, it could be a bumper year for we hardcore gamers who are actually going to get quality versions of games on their systems, and they might get some exclusives.
Yeah.
I think they're also due to announce a new IP for us. Wii Fit, great. Wii Music, great. We need a new IP. The last one they announced for our audience was Pikmin, pretty
Wii
much.
Stripper. I want Wii Stripper with the Motion Plus control.
Bet you do. Comes with pole attachment or pole accessory.
Exactly.
But, I mean, they haven't really announced anything for so long. The sky's kind of the limit here, It could be anything. We asked for Punch-Out, we got that. So what should we ask for this time?
Gumshoe.
That's not going to be there.
That's not going
The
to be.
Edgeworth game, yeah, they twittered that. Capcom said it's not English enough to make an appearance at E3. They're pimping it out at Comic-Con.
come now.
What?
It's on their Twitter. They like to do their updates on Twitter now in their blog. But they do have they said they're making 9 Wii games in this year, 2009. And they counted out, they listed 6 of them, so apparently there are 3 Wii games Capcom's working on that nobody knows about.
And Capcom traditionally has had a really good relationship with Nintendo, so that could bear some fruit for sure.
Mega Man?
So let's just head around the horn here and let's give a letter grade to our hype meters on Nintendo's E3 showing. I don't know if I want to ask Marcus to look on his face already. What do you give him, Marcus?
I'm going to give him I'm D on the hype meter.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a huge Nintendo fan anyway. I've had the Wii since almost day one, and it's pretty much always underwhelmed me, apart from the occasion one like Zelda, which was absolutely phenomenal, but where's the new stuff where, the deterioration of the system has just driven me batshit crazy. I'll probably be more excited for the DS stuff that they announced.
Well, I agree. I mean, my Wii undoubtedly gets the least amount of play out of my 3 consoles. Not even close. Lately, I've been kindling a relationship with my PS3 after being, best bros with my 360 for a long time. Now there's lots of great games coming out for PS3. Starting to get some friends on my friends list, but the Wii just kind of sits there. Pick it up once every couple months to play a game for a day or two, and it's gone. What about you, Miguel? What's your letter grade, your hype meter for Nintendo?
To be honest, I think a lot of what you guys are saying is true, that this could be the year where they let third parties carry the load. And when you think about the way that the other manufacturers have done past E3s, frequently you would see a third-party game headlining their lineups, right? Think about E306 and Call of Duty 4. So I wouldn't be surprised to see that happen with Nintendo. But to be honest, that's a little disappointing. Just because, I don't know, I mean, I grew up playing games around the same time a lot of us did here, and all the old Nintendo franchises really resonate with me. And as a result, I find myself most excited to go to the Nintendo press conference just because I want to see what new form all this old stuff is going to take.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, I guess
I think did you go to the press conference last year?
I didn't go, but yeah, I heard
Yeah,
about
that
it.
would have beat you right in the face with
No, yeah, I know. So
a
I
whole
don't
lot
know.
of reality.
Yeah, dude. I don't know. I guess I'm going into it with no expectation, really. Just kind of see what, this is kind of like a transitional moment for them. Wonder how they're going to do it, man. What is the equivalent of 6.8 in letter grades?
That'd be an F.
That'd be an
Ouch.
So we got a D and we got an F. And on to Mike Damiani.
I'm going to go ahead and give it a B.
A B.
That's because I think that there's no way in hell they're going to have a three-peat and show that shitty of a conference again.
Is it even possible?
It can't be possible. There's not a Wii Music 2 coming, so it can't be that. So I think the fact that in Japan, there's been a lot of media buzz that people think Nintendo is like starting to become they're not infallible anymore. They're vulnerable in Japan. Nintendo, for some reason, is a very backwards company and thinks Japan is still the #1 market. Yeah. They get so obsessed about it that I think that they're going to have some surprises for us this year. And they've been pretty, like for a long time, we've kind of known what's coming out up to like about this quarter. We don't have no clue what's coming out except for, like, even Pikmin 3. It's speculation. We know it's coming. Yeah. It's not confirmed. So I think they'll cover Wii Sports Resort. That'll kind of be like the low point of the presentation. They might make an interesting Wii Motion Plus. But I think they're going to have some heavy hitters, a lot of third-party titles that will like be a solid lineup for them. They've got to have something for this fall planned from them. First party is going to be a heavy hitter as well. So I'm mildly excited, but I'm also cautious because it is Nintendo. There is always a chance they could just like totally like
screw the pooch.
I don't think it can be worse, but it could be bad. So,
Patrick.
Well, I'm ambivalent at this point, and Nintendo has yet to redeem itself in my eyes. So I'm gonna have to give it a C-.
C-?
Yeah. I'll shit bricks if they do something crazy like Mother 4, but I doubt that.
I highly doubt Mother 4.
And I would pay to see you shit a brick, by the way.
I would definitely shit a small brick house.
Also, you're going into construction now, are you?
A log cabin.
Exactly. But yeah, I mean, Nintendo, obviously they're a great company, at least in the past, not lately. But it would take a serious amount of rebuilding for them to kind of get their cred back up to where it once was. And it's in a way it's good that we don't know a whole lot about their lineup this year because hey, there might be a huge ace in the hole there. But then again, we've been disappointed before, so it's hard to say at this point.
Okay, and I'm going to go completely off the reservation and shock everyone listening and watching this show and everyone in this room, and I'm going to give them an A. I think it goes back to what Damiani said. I think that at this point they are feeling a little vulnerable. Their sales have leveled off. I think at this point they're going to need to rely on people like us, the influencers, to give them that second win with their console. I think the casuals have kind of gotten over it at this point, and I think at this point they realize they need to have software that people want to buy and is going to generate some hype. And I think if there's one company at this that has the most to gain or the most to lose from this E3, it's Nintendo. I feel like I've seen, when I look at the 360 and the PS3, I feel like I've almost seen it all at this point. There is no new interface there to explore. It's still just two sticks and a bunch of buttons. And I just feel like, watching game after game come out, the visuals aren't really improving all that much. It's such an incremental step. I just don't really expect anything to blow my mind on those consoles anymore. I just don't feel that way. And I feel like the only platform left that has the ability to blow my mind or to show me something that's going to make my jaw drop is the Wii. And so to me, I'm most excited to see their press conference, and I think that they have the possibility to blow people away more than anyone else.
The one thing I will say to every person who's doing a press conference this year, don't try and fucking entertain us. Just give us the games. I don't want to know if you've been snowboarding. I don't want to know if you've been masturbating a monkey up the side of Mount Kilimanjaro. I don't care if your grandmother had a Wii remote shoved up her ass. I don't want to know.
But on the flip side, if you do want to try out someone like, say, Jamie Kennedy,
oh boy,
by all means, go for it.
Or the guy who does the soup. He's doing the Ubisoft press conference.
Yeah,
Joel McHale.
Yeah.
Who's actually moderately funny, but
He's pretty funny.
But Jamie Kennedy. Unless somebody's going to stick a Wii remote up Jamie Kennedy's, that might be funny.
And I have actually constructed what I believe to be Nintendo's itinerary for his press conference.
All right, hit us, big boy.
Here's the whole press conference. New channel, Red Steel 2 demo, Wii Sports Resort demo, new Zelda, brand new game. Out of there.
That's over 4.5 hours, though, interspersed with
That's
the
like
Cabby
fan
demo.
fiction, bro.
Right? I'm writing the script tonight. All right, that's going to do it for this week's show. Man, that thing was jam-packed. Good luck getting this one down to time there, Marcus.
Oh, it'll be fine. If you only let me do a 3-hour show, I'm sure everybody will love it.
I wish I could. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Next week, we're going to have Microsoft's E3 preview, and we'll see you then. Invisible Walls out.